Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a review of Danny Boyle's new film, Trance, which hit UK cinemas sometime earlier in the week and is out in America on the 5th, I believe. Trance is a film about a man who steals a piece of artwork from an auction and runs into a bunch of criminals who also tried to steal the artwork. And they want to know where it is, but he's forgotten where it is. When he got smacked on the head by one of them, he's forgotten completely where this piece of artwork is. And so they hire a hypnotist to work out what he's forgotten and discern what has happened within the situations at hand. Being a Danny Boyle film, it's very, very stylish. Now, initially this isn't an issue. This is a point I'm trying to make, but what I do like about it is that it is incredibly stylish, visceral. It's a film that you will enjoy watching just because what's on screen is very, very nice to the eye, very engaging, very eye-catching, and beautifully set out and laid up and put to a decent story. Being a Danny Boyle film, I feel like it's trying to be a Danny Boyle film more than it actually is. I am aware of Danny Boyle's other films, his filmography. I've seen Trainspotting, I've seen 127 Hours, Slumdog Millionaire, I've seen 28 Days Later. A lot of his work is hit and miss, and you do need to be in the right mood to watch it, I find. Especially with the zombie films, I don't actually like zombies. I don't find them scary or appealing when it comes to cinema. I find them a plot contrivance which is incredibly boring and can't get much done. So that I don't like those films that he's done anyway. So the main character of the film is called Simon, who's played by James McAvoy, and the leader of the little squad is called Frank, who's played by Vincent Cassel, and the woman who plays the hypnotist is called Elizabeth, played by Rosario, Dawson. All three performances in this film are absolutely amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed watching them play their three characters perfectly and intuitively on screen, and it was hard to decipher what was going on because of it. This is a film very much that wants to manipulate and play with the audience and kind of not teach them, but make them think about the film at hand. This is done incredibly well in the film when you're not sure whether the person is put in hypnosis, or whether he's under hypnosis, or whether this character's under hypnosis, or whether they are, or whether they're not. I imagine that there are several points and things put in the film to make you realise that they are being hypnotised and when they're not, but I couldn't tell that. And this is only my first screening of the film, so these are only really initial ideas. The first two-thirds of the film is absolutely brilliantly well done, well shot, well edited, well filmed. The action and stuff is incredibly well done. There's a slight bit of British humour in there, which I like. It feels very, very much like a British film, and it's ever more confusing when you start looking into the characters' backstories and histories, and realising that James McAvoy is actually part of this little gang, and this hit over the head really did do him some damage. Also, what happened in his past life before then is very, very intriguing and comes up at the end of the film. The story in the first two-thirds of the film is absolutely amazing. It puts the audience on edge, and it's incredibly fast and thrilling. You don't know what's going to happen next, and you're really looking forward to the end of the film. And you can tell there's going to be a twist. With this kind of film, there's blatantly going to be a twist at the end of it. So me and my mate Joe, throughout the film, were trying to figure out what was happening, who the characters actually were, what is there that I haven't seen. I was really looking into it, and I wanted there to be a kind of Fight Club-esque twist at the end, and I thought that my version of the film and that twist, if you haven't seen Fight Club, I won't ruin it, but the twist at the end of the film that I thought was incredibly foreshadowed, was foreshadowed throughout the entirety of this film, and I thought that was going to be the end of the film, and I was very disappointed when it wasn't. I myself don't like the end of the film. I think it renders the rest of the film it gives it a massive disservice. I really didn't like the ending of the film, and it's too simple. It feels like a simplistic version of a film that could be so amazing if the ending was just perfect, and I believe, to me, it felt like Danny Boyle was running out of ideas. I'd imagine that he'd put out some other ideas towards the producers, and then the producers said, like, no, this isn't all right for mainstream audiences. We don't want this kind of film to be out there for the mainstream audience, who won't understand it or like it as much if this isn't the ending that we give out. That being said, the ending that they do give out doesn't make much sense within the context of the film, so that in a sense is incredibly, very, very disappointing. I can't get over how disappointed I was. The actors in the film is absolutely brilliant. If you watch the US Red Band trailer, don't watch it if you haven't. It spoils a lot of key scenes within the film which you are not expecting. I know that sounds a bit weird, but one of the scenes within the trailer, it comes as an absolute shock and surprise in the film. It actually made people laugh when I didn't think they were meant to be laughing. This film is actually incredibly violent for a 15. It isn't completely and utterly violent, but it's not far off an 18. I did think it was actually quite close to being an 18 rating. I mean, there's scenes of torture, there's scenes of rape. The whole kind of confusion of it makes it hard for moviegoers to understand what is happening and make sense of it as they're going along. And so I mean it's kind of like Inception. Inception kind of challenged normal audiences and had them thinking, making them more of a active audience than a passive one, which is where I feel this film really does work, making the audience active. But then at the end of the film makes them passive, because everything you've been thinking about doesn't really matter. Yeah, there's also some nudity within the film. Rosario Dawson, who plays Rosario Dawson, who plays Elizabeth, gets completely nude, and there's a shot which pans up from the floor from her feet as she's completely naked all the way up to her head. So you see the vag and you see the boobs, and she's pretty hot. I'm not complaining, but it's just completely out of the blue, especially as a scene before that involves some strange vibrating sounds from a bathroom. That is one of the things I actually really did enjoy about the film. It goes into... This film tries to challenge so many ideas and reference so many things within it as a piece of art, and what I liked was that as a film it references pieces of art like Monet. Van Gogh. I've completely forgotten the piece of art that is lost, but within this piece of art is the idea of purity, and the idea of purity within the church, which is where art originally came from, and that art that was pure, like people didn't have pubes in it because it makes them more pure, more like a perfect being that God created, and the idea that like people without pubes are a lot more attractive. I don't know where I'm going on this tangent, and it's a bit weird, so I'm gonna stop. Sorry about that. Yeah, on IMDb right now I'm looking at it. It's got a 7.8, 7.6. Sorry. I don't agree with this, and I don't agree with it because of the end of the film. I do, however, think that everyone should go and see this film and make the ending what they want for themselves. I really didn't enjoy it because I was expecting a better ending, but you know, if you want to go see it and you like the ending, that's fine. You know, put your feedback, put your opinions in your comments. The music within the film felt a bit weird. I mean, it felt very reminiscent of Trainspotting, and it was that kind of like trance. I don't know if it's trance music, but if it was, that's kind of cool. Kind of like dance music vibe that Trainspotting had. However, it doesn't fit this kind of film. A lot of the scenes which had this kind of music in didn't amplify the scenes. It took it away, and it builds up some points of the film. It is much louder than it ought to have been within the film. Danny Boyle seems to be able to put artistic stylings on his films, beautiful camera movement, beautiful quirky camera shots, and makes them incredibly viscerally entertaining and very, very nice to watch. However, the ending of the film kind of turns into an action film rather than a film that which is more about the human psyche and the mind, which is what the film should be about, and it kind of portrays itself as right until the ending of the film. So there's my review. I'm going on now to do a spoiler review of what I thought about the last bit of the film. So if you haven't seen the film, please go and watch it. I do recommend it. It's not Danny Boyle's finest piece of work, but I do think it's a good film. However, the ending was a problem for me. It may not be a problem for you. comment, rate, subscribe, give me feedback. Right, now I'm going to talk about the ending of the film and how I did not like what it was doing. The film as a whole requires the audience to be active, to be thinking about the film, to be thinking about who the characters really are, what's happening, who's being manipulative. Is it the femme fatale, or is it the main character going schizo? This is what makes the film interesting. This is what makes it a step above what normal Hollywood cinema throws out. I mean, films like in the cinema at the moment, like Jack the Giant Slayer, that's just probably full of CGI and special effects and stupid comedy that's not funny, and just to entertain the masses and the kids and to get people in there to watch it. You know, that isn't the kind of film I want when I watch cinema. Cinema to me is a lot deeper. Things like that, the films like this and like films like Inception, bringing people thinking in the cinema to a head within cinema itself. I know it sounds weird, but within film itself, it needs to like make people think, and it's interesting. This film really does annoy me at the ending because it ruins what could have been amazing. The ending of the film, when it turns out that Rosario Dawson has just hypnotised James McAvoy from the start and he becomes a woman beater, where did the woman beating take place within the rest of the film's context? There is no reference to woman beating within the film that I knew, or that I saw or noticed. Admittedly, they might be a little bit in there, maybe subliminal messaging, maybe, but I didn't see anything about woman beating, apart from her interviewing a woman who had been beaten by a man. Just because that's in there does not mean that he himself is a woman beater. The fact that it tries to make you just go with the fact that the main character who you've sympathised with and loved for the entirety of the film is now a misogynist who is obsessive with this hypnotist, and then she hypnotises him into thinking that it didn't happen, that their relationship didn't happen, because he starts to strangle her, and then as a result of her hypnosis, 5 or 6 people die, and we are expected as viewers to sympathise with Vincent Cassel's character, who is kind of like an organised crime boss, and sympathise with Rosario Dawson's character, who is the cause of these 5 people dying, and she's got the painting in the background. Great, that's perfect, yeah. End the film on that. The main character is an absolute arsehole, you just haven't realised it because, they haven't shown you anything in the rest of the film which could possibly lead to it, because you're with him the all of the film, believing that he's a good person, and then at the end, oh no, wait, he was in an affair with a hypnotist whom he became obsessive about and then strangled, and then she put and then she did hypnosis on him, and then without him meaning to do it, he went into the middle of London and then strangled and murdered an innocent woman in a car. That just doesn't work within the film's narrative. I have no idea why it went there, only to think that... the only reason I think this is because the producers wanted the big mass audiences to like the film and make sense of the ending as it is. It just turns into a kind of action fest with a car that's on fire, a dead body that isn't really... There is no need for the dead body to be there. You know that he's killed her. And Rosario Dawson riding a truck into a car, which looks stupid. The truck looks absolutely ridiculous, holding another truck on the back of it, who then runs into this car which is on fire in slow motion, like an action sequence from an action film, and James McAvoy falls into a river standing up. You don't even see James McAvoy die, you just assume he's been crushed by the car. Admittedly, yeah, he gets crushed by the car, but you still see him falling into this big lake thing. You know, he could have survived that. He's got upper body strength. Admittedly, his pelvis has been crushed and it might be very, very hard for him to even survive that. But Vincent Cassel manages to survive a car that's on fire and that he's been hit over the head with a fire extinguisher, and the fact that he's in a car which is filled up with water and he manages to escape. I don't know, you know, I would have been happy with the film going how I wanted it to be. Vincent Castell's character and James McAvoy character being the same person but two opposite ends of the spectrum within his mind, and Rosario Dawson trying to figure out what was going on whilst being in a love affair with Vincent Cassel's character, who would then be James McAvoy's character, on two opposite sides of the spectrum, which I've just said. The sex scene in it, and the scenes about being pure, here James McAvoy's character would have had a love for being pure, and when modern art is about modern art was created when pictures with pubes are in it, so it's impure, so it's modern. That could have been contrasted with the idea that James McAvoy's beliefs and system, like he sees some piece of art in a church, his beliefs could have been an old kind of side of the spectrum, and then Vincent Cassel could be modern art with the pubes. He would have, in the film, Vincent Cassel has sex with the woman, Elizabeth. She has pubes. In the film, James McAvoy has sex with the woman. She doesn't have pubes. That is brilliant. James McAvoy is jealous of Vincent Cassel having sex with her. That should be the same person, but like broken identity and stuff like that within the same head. He's jealous of himself for like going with her, kind of like Psycho. He's got two. In Psycho, he's got like two minds. He's got him and then he's got his mother. It could have been James McAvoy and it could have been Vincent Cassel and it could have been absolutely perfect. And the film could have ended brilliantly with a shot of Vincent Cassel and James McAvoy merged together within the chair, and the idea, and then slowly fade out to one of them, so that the bad side or the good side, and the bad side being James McAvoy's character, but the good side being Vincent Cassel's character. The film could have started with the picture of James McAvoy sitting there, and then ended with the same picture, but with Vincent Cassel sat there, and that would have been perfect. I don't understand why this film has gone so wrong within the last 15 or 20 minutes of it. It just really baffles me that this mistake was made. In my opinion, this is a mistake. I didn't like the ending. It didn't make any sense within the context of the rest of the film. And that really, really bugged me because I was really enjoying this film. I absolutely adored the first two thirds of it. And then the last bit just goes completely AWOL and throws in a theory that you're not expecting because it's completely stupid and crap. I really, really don't know why this film did this. And I'm going to have to re-watch it just to see if there was foreshadowing of the fact that he's a woman beater, and that he killed another woman. But, that really did ruin the film for me. I wanted it to be deeper than that. I wanted it to be interesting. I wanted it to have an ending that made the audience think. Maybe like Inception's ending. Was he dreaming, was he not? Make it up. I wanted something like that rather than a piece of crap that was delivered to us. We don't have to think for ourselves because, this ending might make sense if we just throw it in there and people will be happy with it because the rest of the film's amazing. This film really annoyed me because of that. Thanks for watching, guys. I've been on a bit of a rant the past 8 minutes or so. I give this film a 6 out of 10. I thought it was about an 8 until the ending, and then the ending just pulls it down several levels and ruins what could have been an amazing piece of film. And it is, Danny Boyle, I do like his work, but it's below 127 hours in my opinion. It's below Slumdog Millionaire, and it's definitely below Trainspotting. I personally believe that Trainspotting is his best work so far. He's not improved on that, and that's disappointing that Trance could have been better than Trainspotting, but chooses not to, with an ending that's just boring and horrible. Anyway, those are just my opinions. Obviously, this is my YouTube channel. Please comment, rate and subscribe if you've enjoyed, or if you want to leave feedback, positive or negative. I'd be very welcome for that to happen. If you don't agree with my views, you can state that, but please don't be a knob. Don't just put abusive stuff. If you just think I've missed out some things, and if I have missed out some important parts of the film, please can you give it a mention, and I will take that into account. I will try and respond to you as well. This has been Sam. This is my review of Trance.